How's it going, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be going over the number one buy and number one sell currently listed in the Edge Finder. So let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm going to remove these neutral biases to just leave us with our bullish and bearish biases. We have a whole lot of bullish biases today, including two very bullish biases, both scores of +9. That's pound dollar and pound yen. And then on the bearish side, just two bearish biases today. We have Aussie New Zealand and we have Euro Pound. So Euro Pound is going to be our bearish pair. It has the highest score with a -8. And then how about we look at pound dollar, get a little US dollar action in there. Very bullish bias score of +9. So I think we'll take a look at pound dollar and Euro Pound. We'll get the big three, Euro, Pound, and dollar, all in one video here for you. But before we do that, of course, we got to check out the COT data as well as retail positioning. So let's take a quick look at COT data. We're taking a look at what smart money traders are long and short on currently. And we can see that over here, they're actually really long on the pound at the moment. They are 69.32% long on the pound. They are also favored long on the euro just a little bit, 57.16% long from smart money traders on the euro. Not quite enough, hasn't crossed that 60% threshold, that 60% magic number that we use in the Edge Finder to determine if something really is favored one way or another. So has not crossed 60%. We would not score this as bullish because it's not clear and obviously favored in the long positioning, but it is still pretty close. And then the US dollar is basically 50-50. We see 52.49% long, 47.51% short. Really too close to call, if it's favored long or not. I mean, it's practically just 50-50. On the short side, however, we do see things like the Canadian dollar, the Swiss franc, the S&P 500 actually, that's an interesting one, and then Aussie dollar and the Japanese yen are our two biggest shorts from smart money traders right now. 72% short on Australian dollar and 74% short on the yen. I'm going to show off this chart really quickly. I'll explain what it is just in case you haven't seen it before, but this chart right here compares last week's COT data with the most current and up-to-date COT data. We can see the total number of long contracts open on each of these individual assets. We can also see the total number of short contracts open, again, on all of these different assets. This right here is the change in long contracts and change in short contracts from last data release to the most current data release. So in fact, I'll use the pound as an example here because we're going to be talking about it so much today. Did you know that we have 100% free trading tools and data available for you on our website, a1trading.com right now? We have free courses for you to browse. You can also check out things like retail sentiment and free articles from our analyst Frank that include things like Edge Finder screenshots and trade setups. You can find all of this and so much more for free right now on our website, a1trading.com. COT has drastically shifted their view on the pound. Now, they were already favored long on the pound, I will say, but since last week, Smart Money has opened over 6,500 new long contracts and closed over 9,000 short contracts. So what does that tell you? From last week to this week, Smart Money's positioning on the pound is just growing even more bullish. Opening long contracts, closing short contracts. Again, then there's our total long and short percentages, and then that's our net percent change. And you can see that, again, the pound was our biggest net change percent mover from last week to this week, with all of these long contracts getting open and all of these short contracts getting closed. We can see the same thing down here on the JP225, the Japanese stock market. We can see this was the big loser of the week. All of these short positions getting opened while these long positions are getting taken out. So yeah, that's how that chart works there. So if you want to pause the video and take a closer look at that, it is really some very interesting stuff, but I'm going to move right along into retail positioning. We'll take a look at major currency pairs first, and then we'll take a look at minor currency pairs right after. So major currency pairs only right here. I see USD CHF and Aussie USD are both favored on the long side. We can see we've crossed crossed that 60% threshold right here on both of these assets. So the crowd is long Aussie USD and USD CHF, which is actually a bearish indicator for us because oftentimes the crowd, the majority of people, are wrong on these market moves. And then USD JPY is favored on the short side, 72% from the crowd, from day traders, and that is actually a bullish indicator for us. So quick look at major currency pairs. We'll take a look at minor currency pairs now. A lot bigger of a list to take a look at here. But we have things like Aussie NZD, CAD CHF, Pound CHF leading the way, or the crowd is leading the way on those on the long side. Again, all bearish indicators for us there. And then the crowd is really short Swiss yen, Euro yen, CAD yen, all, again, heavily shorted there, but those are all bullish indicators for us as well. So back into the top setups page, we're going to start with Pound USD. So let's head into our major scanner breakdown, FX majors right here, and I'm going to pull up Pound USD. So there we go. There's Pound USD, our very bullish bias score of +9. COT data is a score of +1, and retail sentiment is a neutral score. So taking a look at COT, we just said that the smart money traders are favored long on the pound, and they are 50-50 on the dollar, but they are still favored long on the pound, so that's giving us our +1 score there. COT data can actually go all the way up to a score of +3, depending on what the secondary currencies long and short percentages are. Because it's neutral, we're not going to score it one way or the other, so it's just not going to get a score there. And then they're both positive in the recent change. So really all that's giving us this +1 score here is the fact that smart money is favored long on the pound at the moment. Retail is getting that 0 or neutral score because we haven't crossed that 60% threshold, although they are pretty close to getting to that 60%. The crowd is 60% short there, which would actually be a bullish indicator for retail sentiment. So if this number were at 60%, then this would be a +1 score right here under retail sentiment, ultimately driving our score all the way up to a +10, which is a very solid score right there. Seasonality is a score of +1. And if we take a look in the month of February, it's really hard to see down there, but it actually, historically speaking, just barely, it's really more neutral than anything, but just barely trades positively up in the month of February, historically speaking. Our trend reading is a score of +2, and you wouldn't think much of it looking at this because it really hasn't gotten bullish until the past couple of days. You can see these are all just neutral edge finder scores here until we hit this +5 on February 19th. That was about 4 days ago. That's when the thing started to kick off for pound dollar, and you can see it actually rise from a +1 to a +3, +4, +5 to a +6, and now to a +9. So just based off that, we know that this thing has been trending higher over the past couple of days. Finish up with our fundamental data. Our economy score is +2. Inflation, interest rates, and labor market are all scores of +1, and we can go over those numbers right down here. So GDP growth on the pound currently -0.3% compared to 3.3% in the US. MPMI score is 0.1 compared to 0.8. Retail numbers on the pound 6.7 compared to -1.2 on the dollar. Inflation in the UK 4% compared to 3.1% in the US. The unemployment rate in the UK 3.8% compared to 3.7% in the US. And finally, interest rates 5.25% interest rates on the pound compared to 5.5% interest rates on the dollar. Now let's go ahead and check out Euro pound, because that was all of our numbers, information, and data backing up that +9 very bullish bias on the pound dollar. Euro dollar on the other hand, Euro pound on the other hand, has that bearish bias score of -8. COT data is actually a score of -3, and retail sentiment a score of -1. So we can see that they're pretty much favored, they're pretty much 50-50 on the euro here, but we already know that they're favored long on the pound. And not only that, but the recent change here for the euro was negative, where the recent change for the pound was actually positive. So that's partially why we have that nice -3 score there. And then when it comes to retail sentiment, again, the crowd favored long on euro pound at the moment, and that is a bearish indicator for us. Seasonality, on the other hand, also a -1 score. We can see pretty clearly here in the month of February that, historically speaking, over the last 10 years averaged together, euro pound does not tend to move much higher in the month of February, just historically speaking. Our trend reading is actually a +1 score, although this thing has been kind of just looks like maybe in a range over the past couple of weeks or so. We can actually look at price forecast to get a better idea of how euro pound has been trending. We'll get to look at a little bit of the price chart here, as well as the Edgefinder's algorithm for predictions where price may be heading in the future. So if we look at euro pound here, we can see that this thing actually has had a spike up since February 14th after a pretty sharp decline. We can see that we can only see information back to February 6th, but basically from February 6th all the way up to the 14th, price continued to move lower. It has shot up since then, but has come back down over the last 2 days. We can see that it kind of peaked at February 21st, made a little bit lower, a little bit of a move lower February 22nd, and then here on February 23rd, it is coming back down again. We can finish up here with our fundamental data. Economy score -2, inflation and labor market scores -1, and then interest rates a 0 or neutral score. We already went over all those numbers on the pound when we were looking at pound dollar, so I'll just skip over that and focus on the euro for right now. So GDP growth in the euro area 0%, -0.5% for MPMI, -1 for retail sales, inflation in the euro area 2.8%, unemployment 6.4%, and finally interest rates on the euro are 4.5%. So there we go. That's all the numbers and data backing up that bearish bias on euro pound, as well as all the numbers and data backing up that very bullish bias +9 score on pound dollar. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like and leave a comment letting us know which one of these Edgefinder features would you like to see a full video breakdown on. We'll take a look at those, and we'll make sure to get that out for you. And if you want the Edgefinder for yourself, you can find it in the links down in the description below or on our website, a1trading.com. And you can get it for a discounted price if you use promo code A1YT at checkout. Did you know we do a live trading show Monday through Friday with guests from all over the world? To get notified when we go live, click the bell button next to the subscribe button or check in at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We have helpful, free content in the description below and on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you tomorrow.